Good morning, this is Ross Jason Bohm Line, or Ross Line. Oh, see, this just went offline. We'll see what happened. Oh, back on again. See what's happening here. Hey, we got a little live feed going. It's on and off. We'll see in a minute what happens. Good day, Ross Jason Bohm Line, Ross Line in short. This is Sunday, July 23rd, 2017. Well, let's talk about a little bit of this may be fake war simulation of a war for over 20 years. Equal opportunities, Canadian Human Rights Act, the Charter of Human Rights and Freedom, and violations since World War II. This has been occurred in our country. Family violence too, because they helped out in it too, and a psychological assault of genocide by the United Nations. Psychologically playing mind games. Yeah, an act of war. Taking their livelihoods away. Shutting off power, food, water, and communication device. Making somebody live homeless. Yeah, taking a law and a vigilante act, trying to make it look like they chose to live like that. Just like, how does the creep show say it? Here, let's play it for a second. Let's see if it loads up. Oh, it's not. Here we go with VLC, it'll open it up. But here it goes. The rudeness in somebody's discrimination and controlling somebody's life in a vigilante act. Looks like it's not going to run. Oh, here it goes.
You're done, bud. We got the chat logs. You came to meet up with a child, huh? Well, give us a smile for the camera.
Vigilante acts. That's right. Whoever made that thing is a vigilante. Whatever government agency or person. Yep, they decided to make a rock video on perverts. Trial before being convicted in the court of law. Innocent until proven guilty. Violating your human rights, laws, and ethics of this country. That's right. They go see a doctor and that happens. They get assaulted there. Now they can't see their right of health because they can't get any health care. There's no asylum or safe area without a biased opinion of some vigilante. Oh yeah, a cow has more rights than we do. They have, what? 2 to 4 acres of land to roam and graze on. Yeah, I found this on how many animals should it take in your pastures. The amount of land needed for grazing. The minimum amount, that is, for livestock. 2 to 4 acres, it says, per cow. Wow, because they eat 4% of their food per day, of their body weight. Pretty interesting. And I went back in history, too, to 1885, resistance of Luriel and Batoche. Well, they had 22s, and the RCMP came in with excessive force with Gatling gun. Loan from the American Army that they were just testing out. 1,000 shots per minute. Contained 10 barrels. What else they come in with? Jungle carbine, 308s, revolvers, and rapid shooting carbines in those days. Well, the others just had muskets and whatever ammunition they had. They used nails and made bullets from spent bullets. Spent meaning used bullets. The Métis women melted down the lead, they said, and made their bullets. Excessive force, just like gathering around 1 against 6,000. Indecent act, yelling and screaming out insults all the time. Crazy world. I don't know what else to say. And like I said, Convention of Prevention of Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. As many genocide things say, Article 2. Killing a member of a group, causing seriously bodily harm or mental harm to members of a group or an individual. Basic understanding. Yeah, group being black, white, green, yellow, or red. Yep, Dietitians of Canada dictates on nutritional value because they're highly educated as well. Leading cause of mental health is lack of nutrition. Yeah, our government says they're so educated and wise, they can't fix any of today's society problems, and all they do is violate human rights laws and ethics, think money solves all problems. We have too much sexual harassment and bullying at the workplace. WorkSafe BC put out $1 million videos on it, same with every other province in Canada, same with Royal Life Savings as well. Instead of being one country, they do individual provinces and waste tons of money. They can do one video and as a federal video and have apex is what they call it for each province, and just put their logo on per province, or scroll down every province as WorkSafe Canada, and everybody does it, just like building codes are across Canada and the laws of Canada as well, according to the Canadian Criminal Code book on Department of Justice Canada, just like immigration is a Canadian one as well. Any immigrant, landed or not, once you get your citizenship, if you commit a violent crime, you may be deported as a terrorist. You waited till you got your immigrancy papers saying you are a resident of Canada now to be an asshole, or else you taught your kids or your grandkids, as Cold War would say. You waited your time. You came in here, you infiltrated society, and all you did was wait your turn before you could do something. It might be 10 years, it might be 100 years. Along the way, you did little things along the way to sabotage certain developments of the world. Only take government jobs so you can do more harm than good. Other goofy things is, because this assault on my body with the drug Invega, ask a patient.com. Well, type in Invega or any type of drug, you'll see the side effects and harm, knowing this chemical bullet kills people and harms them psychologically and physically by the amount of weight gain, the loss of testosterone because the chemical lobotomy attacks the organ of the brain called receptors. You kill the pituitary gland, and you kill all hormones in the body that let you have sexual drive, enjoyment, life, gestures such as smiling and happiness and love, and they don't know how to fix it. Most people are committing suicide because of these psychiatric drugs and so forth, because divorce rates are up higher, so the government has to pay out all these people for a loss of family, loss of life, and pain and suffering like residential school and Holocaust access. These things were created in World War II by Nazism, schizophrenic drugs that they sterilized and spaded mass amounts of people with misdiagnosing and yelling and screaming in public is not schizophrenic or hearing things in your head at all when you're talking and trying to figure out stuff rather than just sit there like a computer and being mute. There's no such thing as schizophrenic. It's their definition only, and that's a biased opinion. Like I said, if you have no sanctuary to a safe place and your information has to be passed off from a doctor or a cop, and you can't walk in there and have privatization, freedom away from them, that they don't know anything about you, you're just walking in for their services without any discrimination, then you have no asylum or safe area to go to because they made their opinion by what somebody else has said. There's no asylum. Abuse. Oh, definition of abuse in the Oxford Dictionary or Webster Dictionary, which we use in Canada, as is names too, like Christian names. Making excessive habit, using of alcohol, drugs, and other illegal substances. Drugs are natural, aren't they? Weed is a shrub. Tobacco is a shrub. Cocaine is a plant as well. Coffee is a plant. Sugar is a plant. Opium's a poppy or a flower, and they take the extracts out just like syrup and make it into something. Oh yeah, cigarettes, they add all those chemicals in it and they give out cancer of the lungs and throat, decay of teeth as well and whatnot. You can't have a kid naturally, I guess that's a genocide too. If Adam and Eve couldn't have kids, that would have been genocide. We wouldn't be on Earth today, would we? Like if the sun goes out, our sunshine in the sky that keeps us alive. No vegetation grow, we don't get our vitamin D, as it's called, and we die off as well. Back to the Stone Age. I read this article also, just like in Vega. It's a testosterone prohibitor. It says male to female gender changes and sexual functions. They deplete with a testosterone prohibitor and assault a male that in here it's consent, but it isn't if it's a psych drug or a date rape drug put into your food supply somehow and you don't know what it is at all. Meaning they're harming you, you don't know it's there, and it's some type of date rape drug. Yeah, you might not go to sleep and get raped, but it's a date rape drug. Administering obnoxious things, meaning something that harms you in any way, like spraying aerosol or chemical warfare in the sky. It's a mist or a smell that harms you psychologically and physically. Definition of genocide, running you away from your home as a refugee. That's right, refugee, or war. You lose all your friends, family, money's worth nothing, you have no jobs, now you have no no residency, and you're homeless. Signs of a war. Everything I've gone through since 1998. Called the Union Run as well, isn't it? Oh, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. Haha, psychologically assaulting. Why people go postal by Billy the Kid? You have a life. You lose your hours of your job. You eventually lose your job. You lose everything you know. Same thing. Eventually they attack you, insult you, and act undignified to you, human dignity, human right, to talk to you without psychologically saying, oh, you're mentally ill because you lived on the street, you had to dig in dumpsters, you might have to be a prostitute, you might have to break in and steal, but we're highly educated people and you're disabled and mentally ill, and we have to take you to a hospital for assessment without a court order. Yeah, proving, because they were assaulted, you never wanted to listen in any way to what they were going through. That's right, you assaulted them again, proving you have a war on those people who are homeless, like I've gone through, a long drawn-out procedure. You assault them psychologically, just like you did in Vancouver Airport with a guy who gets off the airplane, 6 guys around them, projecting anger, uttering threats, putting fear into somebody in a free country, violating human rights laws and ethics and the Charter of Human Rights and Freedom of Canada, and get penalized, just like the 4 guys did or 6 guys did, whatever it might have been. Lying on stand and everything like that. Kelowna. Guy shoots off a blank shotgun to disperse the duck. They pull him over, guy gets on his hands and knees, police officer kicks him in the face. Excessive force. Cumberland, British Columbia. Kid's riding his bike or whatnot, walking in Cumberland. Police officer gets mad and puts the guy and restrains him on the ground in a chokehold on the ground, on his back. People around film it. Excessive force or not? Did he get spit at? Disrespect, assaulted a police officer. Did he smash his head on the ground? Yes, no, we don't know. They don't tell us on that report. Excessive force, kicking in somebody's door without a warrant. Yeah, projection of anger, putting your hand on somebody's sidearm and threatening them. Excessive force. When somebody telling you you're violating human rights, you refuse to listen to them, and you're handing them a piece of paper that has no legal matter. There's no summons to show in the court, and it's not a warrant to stay, or a summons and a charge saying stay off the premises. This is a legal piece of paper saying you have a document. You're not allowed to enter the thing by a court order. It's not legal. It's not your human rights. It's not the laws of Canada. You're violating the laws again. You're a police officer. You're assaulting the people with your ignorance. Why do you have a badge? Why is your trainer a trainer? By chain of command, they taught you they're responsible for your action, as is your watch commander and anybody on your earpiece. Well, how does ID work? Well, go to the school records. Every student interview or parent interview, every report card is in your school record. Every incident in the school is in there as well. Every driving record, every social insurance number record in there for Revenue Canada, taxes paid, and whatnot. Should also have the same thing. All your job references should be in your Revenue Canada. Same with your criminal record. Because why? You have to be bondable for a job, don't you? So, yeah, they type in your number, and it pops up. Non-criminal. Non-criminal, or whatever their offense was. Non-bondable, right? How do I shut up? You can't. You're assaulted so bad. Genocide. You have no friends, no family, no job, no life. You're hungry all the time. No redemption. Residential school treatment. Holocaust treatment. Acts against humanity. Criminal war. War Criminal Act, according to the Department of Justice. You assaulted somebody. You put them in a war-torn country. You brought a free, beautiful country and made it into a fucking war. That's right, you assaulted a human being with your ignorance. You're called the police, you're called government agencies, and everywhere somebody goes, all you do is treat them with dignity, with no dignity at all. You stripped him of his land, you stripped him of his dignity, his job, so he couldn't afford nothing, he couldn't pay his taxes, never had the right to own property, the right to have a family, the right to play, the right to exercise, the right to breathe, the right to enjoyment. Freedom. You violated somebody's life and detained them in poverty and assaulted them. A forced detainment to life, from the street to assistance to different stages of assistance, and you play games with people's heads. Every time they need money or checks available, you say you have to come in and you can't have a check. You're hungry. You don't call somebody on check day in. You call them beforehand so you know they have food in their belly, which they don't have enough for proper foods. $7 a day or $5 a day. You think that's enough? Nope, you can't live by those means. Family violence. You neglect your kids in this society, you get charged for child abuse. Family violence. Neglecting the proper necessities, health care, food, clothing, shelter, and exercise. Government. You're the forefathers of the country and you're in charge of all their lives. You want to go Foreign Aid 2012, Google it, of Canada. You want to give billions of dollars out to all these countries, but you're not willing to help the problems in the country. Make sure there's adequate jobs of adequate living so everybody's getting a fair wage, can live off minimum wage, buy a house, have cars, go on their vacation every year for 2 to 3 weeks, eat properly, have emergency money just in case they have an emergency and they can't work for 2 weeks or a week because they get injured. Have their relaxed full time, their leisure time on their 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks of their weekends after work. And their kids too. Raise a family of 5 on minimum wage. Human rights. How do we do it? What is common sense? What isn't? What is reality in life? Oh, a dictatorship like Castro. with living in a communist system. Our parents always saying, you're not good enough, you're a piece of shit, you're a little white boy, you're a retard because you don't have an A+ on your report card. Insults, criticism, smashing cupboard doors and breaking plastic and throwing things around and slamming things on the ground, pushing them, hitting them in the back of the head, yelling and screaming at it. All family violence that a person goes through for 44 years. And the police, moms, dads, just say, oh, you didn't go through that. Well, yeah, bullshit. You might not be in there then. But I know exactly what's in. You can't erase somebody's head. That is called mischief. That is your data in your brain. Without it, your body ceases to exist. Genocide, murder, manslaughter. Yeah, you put a drug in their body somehow that erases their brain, causes dementia, Alzheimer's, and retardation. Unable to run, walk, breathe properly. Definition of being mentally retarded in some ways, because you don't have your natural functions of life anymore. Freedom of speech, changing their natural tone of voice to what they're used to in their heads because they can't listen to their own voice. It's not natural. That's right. If Zeus looked like that, and David, and Saint Benedict, and all these ancient statues, why don't we look muscular like that today? We work just as hard in society. Why do the kids nowadays have more muscle tone than the ones now? Human control and trafficking, you're dictating what people can do and can't do. Slavery. You're watching people live in sorrow, you are a trafficker of human life. Just like what I said, making somebody live in a war-torn country. That's right. Civil rivalry. The second-born doesn't like the firstborn because they don't like the firstborn because he thinks they have more and they want to become the first in line. Firstborn rights, isn't it? Like Prince William and Henry. One's first, one's second. Common sense. Laws that exist that they don't teach and explain. What can one do? How stressful can one live a life if you're always trying to psychologically assault somebody, called torture? You're the powered figures in society, which is against the law. What is it, a 269, I think it is? Here, we'll check my little cheat sheet right here. Torture. Oh, a death that might be prevented as well. A 224. Yeah. A psychological assault that causes death. Suicide. Drugs and alcohol forcing them into their lives, and all that kind of stuff. Killing by influence of the mind. 228. Torture, which is psychological assaulting somebody. 269-1. Bait and trap devices like computers with viruses and all kinds of other stuff like entering buildings and being harmed. Or groups and organizations. A device, an organization. 247. Breach of contract means, hey, joining some type of group and being assaulted and threatened by them. All laws as well. Breach of trust of a public officer. A public officer means people like the mayor and other government officials. They have the right to make an arrest, just like a police officer, as does everyone else have the right by 474, I think. You have the right to make an arrest, and the police officer has to be there for you to hand them over to them, and you have to go to court, just like making a video statement or any type of statement to say what you said to the police officer as your statement or your video statement like this is right now. Oh yeah, trafficking a human is a 279. And what happened to Castro? Well, they shut off all his job sites all the time, didn't they? Ooh. I'm just going to sit here for a second and look at this. I'm looking for, where is that? Well, yeah, fabrication of evidence, information, and statements. making an event happen, like I said, why people go postal by ability a kid in a premeditated assault on people. You fabricated an event to happen. You made them go into war mode by taking away all their livelihoods and their lives and making them homeless. You fabricated an event by assaulting them in a premeditated robbery of their lives. You took their human dignity away so they couldn't live a free and just life. And uttered threats by projecting anger at them all the time. Dispersing of a chemical or a war weapon in the air. Unlawfully causing bodily harm, and you're a common nuisance because you had to think about it all the time. Like I said, you have the right to arrest somebody. It's a 270 or a 474. I just don't have it written down on here for some reason. Should be. Anyhow, that's all I got to say today about human rights violations and putting somebody in war, making them homeless. You took a vigilante act, you took their jobs away. Job equals money, and money equals food, shelter, clothing, and it's a drug and it's a controlled substance. You have to have money to have a better education, a better housing, better food, better socialization, and a better environment. Without money, you can't have a better environment, better food, better clothing, better people around you, maybe, maybe not, and pay more for what you want. Money. A real cruel act, a barter system that's been used since the Stone Age. Beads, shells, gold, silver, diamonds, rubies, precious metals, or whatnot. Something somebody wants and somebody needs. You take it as a change, just like this piece of paper. Fraudulent money. This document says fraud of a certificate or a uniform or fraud, just like gender fraud. You're not a man, you're not a woman, you're a fake. They call them transgenders. And this says this paper is worth $10 million. Is it? No, because it isn't a legal bank note or a check or a bond by the government. It's not a stamped piece of gold from a mint, silver or whatnot, or certified diamond that could just be a piece of glass cut. Laws and regulations. What can one say? I tried my hardest in life. I did my surely best, and I know that what I've gone through isn't my doing. And like I said in one of my videos, before 90, it's not my doing if I die. It's somebody else who assassinated me. And I said that in 2013 on one of my videos. Maybe I'll tag it on the exclamation mark up there so you can listen to it yourself. I've done my hardest. I'm tired of having mums slap me in the face for no reason for my entire life, be complete retards, and say stupid things and say, oh, I love you, and don't. Same with parents and dads, and all they want to do is say, hey, fuck you too. And that's all they do. You choose to live like that. It doesn't work like that. Nobody chose to live like that. I ain't the ones who made the rules. Privatization doesn't work. I don't own a business. I'm only an employee of Canada. I have a social insurance number to follow the rules and regulations of the Union of Canada. Drivers, firearms, passports, let's say identification, schooling and certificates, and I never have enough money to get a better education, nor does somebody want to get a loan, so you're in debt afterwards, a bait and trap device, and never have a job to pay it back in a decent amount of time, let alone own a house. We know why a house costs so much, because the 2x4s go up. It's replacement value for the materials in there. That's right. Look after your house. Hopefully it keeps it mint. Sell it. Get what money you have put in there. Yep. over 100 years, land goes from $10, hey Harold, to for 160 acres to millions of dollars. Little ratio of that, 2 cents an hour to 10.75. What does he write? It's I can't say those fucking words. I'm an illiterate dumb fuck. Anyhow, that means just dumb retard. Don't want to pay attention to life. Anyhow, I'm out of here. Like I said, human rights of the world, or the Charter of Human Rights in Canada, or Canada and the Human Rights Act, our Canadian Code Book, Department of Justice. And here, we'll reach down here, and equal opportunities in Canada arise from similar treatments of all persons. Unhamped articles, barriers, and pre-references, except when particular distinctions can be justified. You can read it. Equal Opportunities Wicca in Canada. You can also go to Canadian Human Rights Act and click the blue, and it'll take you right there as well.